Alright, so I finally did chapter 22 and have seen fully where they were going with the story. Spoiler alert, obviously, we're not going to be going as deep as last time though, but Vale's power that allowed Alear to be corrupted wears out, and then the emblems decide that they could use, I think they called it a miracle, to make Alear into an emblem, being a special emblem, the Fire Emblem, who also has a physical form in this world. And Alear's revived back to his old self. Or her, if you're playing the female Alear. But yeah, I didn't know Alear became an emblem. That was just a minor thing I also saw spoiled, and I don't remember if it was in the wiki or if it was in some sort of YouTube thumbnail or title or something, but I don't know. First off, why didn't Vale at all mention, hey, I have limited power and this probably won't work forever? I was under more of the impression that there would be some more of an effect on Alear himself. Not that there was some sort of time limit. I don't know, they're probably trying to go for some shock value, give us some twists or whatever, but I feel like it would have made more sense for Vale to tell Alear this, and then you sort of have the approach of, okay, let's gather the rings, get somewhere safe, and try to figure things out. And just regroup, I mean. So part of what allows this to happen is Lumera's gift, which was the ring that becomes Alear's emblem ring. Which I guess you can use the excuse that it was close enough in proximity, but I don't know. I think it would have made more sense to head out, maybe consult with particularly the trio of characters who have spent a lot of time in the Somnial with Lumera, and then they could have been like, hey, you might want to open that gift, because maybe they would, sort of be aware, and the possibility that they or someone else might be aware of more of the lore of the dragons in this world. I guess Mavier maybe even too. But then there's two other things. One, why did it take Alear's second death for the emblems to be like, oh hey, let's use the miracle? To be fair, they did hint at them having this ability earlier in the game, I believe. But it's like, wouldn't it have there technically been a few seconds between Alear's first death and Sambrang collecting the rings, which could be the excuse that they had to have all the rings awakened. I guess Alear actually didn't have an opportunity to awaken Marth's ring, though, but I don't even think they said, though, that all the rings had to be awakened to do this, even. So I don't know, that felt a little off, but not as bad as some of the other stuff, I guess. And then you have Alear becoming an emblem, but having his body in this world completely fine now. I don't agree with that. I feel like there should have been more consequences from Alear dying there. Actually, I think it would have been interesting. I don't know if they would ever do this, but what if, since they just introduced Vale, what if Alear becomes an emblem and everything, skills and stats, get passed on to Vale, so Vale essentially becomes Alear, required for all the missions or whatever once you get her. So that way you don't lose all the work you put into the character, and how you can still have all the supports and all of that. It could have even led to some pretty interesting ones, and sort of seeing someone having to transition from a regular person or divine dragon or whatever to an emblem ring. So that's kind of a missed opportunity, I guess, in my opinion. But putting that aside, how was the map? It was good. I feel like that's my reaction to all of the maps I've done since last time. None of them have particularly stood out, but at the same time, like this game, all of the maps have been just great. Like a good map here might be equivalent to some of the above average maps from other games. I think that's something I've seen a lot about this game, and that's a sentiment that I definitely agree with. The only gimmick here is that you had to revive all the rings. So I sort of played things a little carefully towards the end to make sure I maximized XP, but the one thing that was interesting was Alear. He didn't have to go to each independent space. He had to be so many spaces away, and he would have revived all of the rings in that area. I think there were like 3 or 4 areas. The map was a little similar to the previous one. I think it's even supposed to be in the same location again, just kind of going the opposite way, and there's a little more destruction around and obstacles to get in your way in terms of movement. Other than that, though, I did 3 Paralogues. I completely forgot I didn't do Roy's yet. Roy's, I think, was a level 10, though. It was kind of weird because his map felt kind of familiar, but I've never played his game until I'm in the US, so there's no legitimate way to play it anyway, but I don't know, I guess the forest level and sort of being in different corners against your enemy is kind of common in Fire Emblem, and I can think of one of my favorite maps from Three Houses in particular that kind of did the same thing. The thing that was really painful about this map, though, is Roy can just keep using Blazing Lion, I think is the skill, when he swings his sword, starts a big fire, and does a bunch of damage to everyone caught up into it within, 2, 3, 4 spaces away. Even some of the crazier skills, you normally don't see the AI being able to spam them like that, at least not on the easy difficulty or whatever I'm on, but that was that map. Then we had Celica's, which it was great to hear the I don't remember the name of the song, but it's good. The map itself, I think, was based off of one of the first maps you from Echoes on Celica's route. Not too much to say. The big thing is obviously Celica has Warp Ragnarok. Luckily, you can kind of avoid that, especially with Cantor. Cantor has turned into a really useful skill for me. You get it from Sigurd, and it's only 1000 SP, so it's like a little expensive, but not too crazy. Definitely reasonable, and it's definitely helped in a map like this. Because then you can take out a unit, then get away from Celica's range, which you would have had to have been in otherwise to have been able to take out that unit. Elicitry, I think, is the other skill I'm really liking. I think it's one of Lynn's, and it allows you to always do your second attack before your foe does their first attack, so that can save you a lot of health in situations. I think it's also 1000 SP, so I guess that would be my ideal build right now, but obviously I'm sure there are better builds. I'm actually saving up for one skill with Rosado that I forget what exactly it does, but it's attached to your defense level, and since Rosado is a great knight, I can picture it being very good, and it's worth 3000 SP, so hopefully it's worth it. I want to say it's an Erica skill, I don't remember the name of it though. Speaking of which, for the hell of it, I gave everyone a proficiency with every weapon so they can change to any class. This endeavor was a lot more time consuming than I would have thought. I don't know how they really could have streamlined it, but yeah, it was just like an hour or two of grinding in the arena, which I know a lot of people wouldn't be willing to do. But I don't know, it can be kind of relaxing and fun if you, I don't know, throw on something else in the background or do something else on the side. And then I did Alear's Paralogue, where we get the Bond Ring, I think is what it was called, which is essentially your access to S supports. Once again, I've already mentioned this several times, but the song in this stage was probably my favorite in the game so far, so in my opinion, it's been getting better and better. Getting close to the high tier Fire Emblem songs, so we've got a couple more chapters left, so hopefully there's some good stuff there. That map itself was interesting. You had to chase down someone trying to steal the ring, and then a bunch of reinforcements came. And they were a bit tougher than I was expecting, still made it through okay. Took a bit longer than I thought, though. Things got sort of wacky towards the end, too. Just trying to keep everyone alive, trying to box certain units in and stay so far away with other units. My strategies weren't working as good as I would have thought, so I had to sort of rethink and redo that a couple times. Thank you, Rewind. But yeah, I think we're going to be a little more focused on the story maps from here on out. I really don't think there's a lot of paralogues left. There were quite a few in a row there, which is not a problem. Paralogues are fun, so I guess I am a little worried. I don't want to see my A team become way more powerful than my B team, especially depending on how some of the DLC maps work in that when we get there, when I'm done with the main story. But we'll have to wait and see with that, I guess.